Welcome, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar, Recertification Simplified. BICSI Credentialing wants to help take the stress out of recertification by giving you an overview of all the recertification requirements, policies, and processes. My name is Shannon Hackworth, and I'm excited to be hosting this session today. I'd like to start by introducing you to your BICSI Credentialing team. Rhonda Thomas is BICSI's Vice President of Credentialing. In her role of Vice President, Rhonda is responsible for BICSI's certifications. She works closely with the Registration and Credential Supervision Committee and focuses on the development of all the credentialing programs. Joy Andis is BICSI's Credentialing Operations Manager. Joy supervises the day-to-day operation of the credentialing department and specializes in database management for credential holders and credentialing process oversight. Marta LeBron is BICSI's Senior Recertification Specialist. Marta specializes in recertifications and CEC audits. Jennifer Brandt is BICSI's Design Exam Specialist. Jennifer handles all aspects of the design exam processes. In addition to that, she also reviews and approves all on-site training exam applications. And then there's myself, Shannon Hackworth, and I'm the Installation Exam Specialist. I'm responsible for reviewing and processing all installation exam applications for our authorized training facilities, as well as the BICSI open enrollment exam applications. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the recertification process, let's just talk a little bit about why recertification is important and necessary. Most people wouldn't go to an unlicensed doctor. We want some proof that they've earned their credentials and licensure. They also wouldn't want to go to one who was licensed 40 years ago, who's not continued to update and expand their knowledge with current practices and new developments. And the same goes for ICT professionals. Employers, clients, coworkers want to know that you not only earned your credential, but that you continue to learn and expand in the ICT field. Something that's considered cutting edge today may be out of date next year. So regular recertification can help you advance in your career and remain marketable in the industry. Maintaining and recertifying your BICSI credential demonstrates your commitment to excellence and dedication to continued professional growth. And finally, studies clearly show that skill level is one of the major factors affecting unemployment rates. In an era where layoffs have become increasingly common, employers are most likely to retain workers with appropriate skills and current relevant knowledge. So you worked really hard to earn your certification and you want to maintain it. Continuing education is going to be the key to recertification and staying current in your field. Continuing education credits are activities done by individuals for professional learning in order to keep current, master new skills, or plan for the future and meet professional responsibilities. Most professional organizations require continuing education for individuals to maintain a certification, license, or registration. These requirements are intended to encourage professionals to expand their knowledge base and stay current on new developments in their field or industry. BICSI's continuing education credit program is designed and implemented to standardize CEC policies globally within the organization. The purpose of these policies is to facilitate consistent application, assignment, and award of BICSI CECs and enable BICSI credential holders to maximize their training resources in expanding their knowledge base while maintaining current credentials in an efficient manner. There are many activities that qualify as CECs for a credential holder. A qualified activity is any activity submitted to and evaluated by BICSI staff and deemed to have met the criteria necessary to be eligible for BICSI ICT CECs. Qualified activities can include online courses, conferences, and workshops, as well as instructor-led courses. The amount of CECs that an activity is awarded is based on contact hours. A contact hour is a full 60-minute period in which an individual experiences interaction with an instructor, presenter, or learning resources that have been prepared to promote and monitor learning activities. Contact implies a collaborative connection between the individual and an information source that will monitor the individual's progress and/or provide some form of feedback to the individual as required or requested. A contact hour does not include learning activities in which individuals are engaged in unplanned, unsupervised, or non-sponsored learning. So breaks or lunch periods, as well as quizzes and examinations, are not included when calculating contact hours. The best resource for all CEC-related questions is the BICSI Continuing Education Credit Program PDF. The Continuing Education Credit Program, or CEC program, document provides a framework for the development, presentation, measurement, and reporting of continuing education programs. The document also provides best practices and practical guidance for implementing the policies. The CEC program will be reviewed periodically by BICSI staff to determine if modifications are required. Recommendations for changes will be presented to the Program Coordination Committee for consideration and approval, with modifications reviewed and approved by the BICSI Board of Directors. At a minimum, the PCC will review the full CEC program at least every other year in conjunction with the installation of the BICSI president. Questions of interpretation and meeting will be reviewed by the PCC when necessary for final determination. This document was last updated on August 1st, 2019, and the most updated copy is always available on the BICSI website. You can find that document by going to www.bicsi.org. Click on the Education and Certification tab, drop down at the top, and then select Continuing Education Credit in the drop-down list. Where can you find CECs? Our first recommendation is BICSI Connect, which is our online learning portal. It has self-paced courses offered entirely online. The courses cover a wide range of topics in the information and communications technology industry. They include structured cabling systems, data centers, outside plant design, project management, workplace safety, and more. And new courses are regularly added. You can view a list of courses currently being offered, their associated CECs, and register for BICSI Connect courses at www.bicsi.org/BICSI Connect. BICSI also offers a wide variety of instructor-led courses. It offers globally recognized training for voice, data, and video distribution, design, and installation, as well as project management, including introductory, intermediate, and advanced level instruction. All training is provided by BICSI training delivery specialists or BICSI certified trainers. In response to the new social distancing environment, BICSI has also transformed our traditional classroom training into virtual classroom training. Virtual classroom training combines the best of traditional classroom training with the convenience and flexibility of a real-time virtual learning format. You can view a list of courses currently being offered and their associated CECs at www.bicsi.org/courses. You can also submit courses from other outside vendors for CECs. BICSI has a search function available to all credential holders to find the non-BICSI courses that have already been approved for BICSI CECs. And you can view a list of courses that are currently pre-approved and their associated CECs at www.bicsi.org/CEC. In the event you have a course you have taken that's not pre-approved for BICSI CECs, you're able to submit them for review. To qualify for BICSI CEC consideration, the training must be a minimum of 1 contact hour, and the focus of the training must be consistent with the CEC program policy for qualified activity, which can be found in the CEC program PDF. And a detailed syllabus and timed agenda must also be submitted for approval. For CEC consideration, you can submit all supporting documentation on your BICSI profile, and a BICSI subject matter expert will review the information and award CECs if applicable. Once you have earned CECs, the next step is to submit CECs to have them added to your BICSI credential. CECs earned through BICSI Connect and BICSI courses do not have to be submitted. They automatically awarded within 72 hours of course completion. But all other BICSI CEC submissions must be submitted online through your BICSI profile to be awarded. When submitting CECs online, you will need to submit each CEC certificate separately for the CECs to be awarded correctly. If you submit more than 1 certificate in one submission, you'll only receive CECs for the first certificate attached. CECs that are not already pre-approved may take up to 30 days to be awarded, and once they're approved, or if more information is needed, you'll receive a notification email to your primary email address that is listed on your BICSI profile. BICSI Credentialing also has 2 help aids for you to use when submitting CECs. There is a How to Submit CECs online video, as well as a step-by-step PDF available at any time on the BICSI website. Those aids can be found at www.bicsi.org/CEC. Each BICSI credential has different recertification requirements, and it's important for you to know what yours are long before your expiration date comes around so that you can plan accordingly. We'll review the requirements for each credential now. Let's start with the BICSI design credentials. To recertify the RCDD credential, a credential holder must have 45 CECs as well as 1 BICSI qualifying conference credit. The RCDD is the only credential with a conference requirement at this time. To recertify the DC-DC credential, you must have 36 CECs. To recertify the OSP credential, you must have 24 CECs. And to recertify the RTPM credential, you must have 36 CECs. Next, let's review the BICSI installation requirements, credentials. To recertify the Installer 2 copper credential or the Installer 2 fiber credential, a credential holder must have 15 CECs. To recertify the technician credential, you must have 18 CECs. The Installer 1 is a non-renewable certificate, so you're unable to recertify it. We do encourage you to move forward into the Installer 2 copper or Installer 2 fiber credentials if you have the Installer 1 credential before it expires. Finally, let's review the sunsetted credentials. These credentials are no longer offered as new credentials, but for those who hold the credential, they are able to continue to recertify it as long as they have met the requirements. To recertify the Installer 2 credential, a credential holder must have 15 CECs. To recertify the ESS, NTS, and WD credentials, you must have 18 CECs. And finally, to recertify the RITP credential, you must have 22 CECs. It is also important to note that CECs are awarded to all credentials. For instance, if you submit a certificate for 10 CECs, those 10 CECs are awarded to all active credentials. Once you have met all of your recertification requirements, you're ready to recertify at any time. You do not have to wait until your expiration date to recertify. You're able to recertify online as soon as all your requirements have been met. It is extremely important to note, however, that recertifying early does not change your certification cycle dates. For instance, if you expire on 12/31/2020 and you recertify early in March, your next cycle will start on 1/1/2021. Another important thing to consider when recertifying early is that CECs are awarded in the certification cycle that they are earned in. So in the example before, if you recertify in March and you submit CECs in April, those CECs will not be applied to your 1/1/2021 certification cycle. There's no penalty for recertifying early either. So if you have all of your CECs and you don't want to maybe forget about your expiration date, you can go ahead and get it taken care of by recertifying early. We've streamlined the recertification process and it's now available online and takes only a short amount of time to complete. To recertify online, you would need to sign into your BICSI profile and navigate to your credential dashboard. On your credential dashboard, you should see all of your active credentials, and there should be a clickable link that says Recertify Now next to all credentials that have met the requirements. If you've not yet met the recertification requirements, this link will not be active. To complete recertification, you just need to click on that link, follow the prompts, and check out. Once that is complete, your credential is recertified for the next 3 years. starting the date after your original expiration date. To help aid you even more, there's also a step-by-step how to recertify online video tutorial that you can find on the BICSI recertification webpage. If you're unable to process your recertification online, you can complete the process by emailing in a completed PDF version of the recertification application to credentialing@bicsi.org. The application is available to download on the BICSI website on the recertification page. It is important to note that there is a processing fee for all recertifications that are emailed into BICSI. Costs for recertification vary depending on the credential and your BICSI member status. Pricing for all recertification is subject to change at any time and without notice. The most updated costs and fees can always be viewed on the downloadable PDF recertification application at any time on the BICSI website. The RCSC and BICSI has important policies that you as a credential holder should know for your credential recertification. We're going to review 3 of those policies briefly today, but we highly encourage you to view and read each policy in its entirety online. As always, you can contact BICSI Credentialing with any questions you may have as well. The recertification audit serves as a method to ensure that credential holders are meeting the minimum standards to maintain the knowledge and skills needed to remain current in the field of ICT. All credential holders are subject to an audit, so it's essential that you, as a credential holder, know what the recertification audit policy is and what is required of you if you are selected for audit. A credential suspension period policy is intended to allow a credential holder the opportunity to complete their expired credential recertification requirements without the loss of the credential. And finally, the reinstatement for lapsed credential holders is available to any credential holder who has lapsed recertification for no more than 2 terms past the credential's original expiration date. Again, it is your responsibility as a BICSI credential holder to know and adhere to all BICSI credentialing policies, and you can find the most updated policy on the recertification page on the BICSI website. Once you have completed the recertification process, you're all set. As a courtesy, BICSI does send recertification reminder notices through email, mail, and text messages. Please ensure that the information on your BICSI profile is kept up to date. As a reminder, your recertification dates do not change, regardless if you certified early or late. Another important reminder is that you can submit CECs as you earn them. You do not have to wait until your expiration date when you want to recertify. You can submit them at any time throughout your 3-year certification cycle for them to be awarded. In fact, we highly encourage you to do this. This will help avoid any processing delays, so when you're ready to recertify, you are also able to. Also, as a courtesy, BICSI does send recertification reminder notice through email. Once you recertify, your electronic downloadable PDF copy of your certificate is available immediately on your BICSI profile. So please download it and begin using it as you need it right away. Thank you for listening and learning all about the BICSI recertification process today. We hope this has cleared up any confusion or questions you may have had about recertifying your credential. As always, if you have any questions, you can email credentialing@bicsi.org. We are always happy to help. Thank you again.